Hi everyone, today I decided to paint some tangerines, or you can call them mandarins again, and I prepared not just one but a kind of small still life. I'll see how far I can go with it, so I will show what paints I'm going to use. So it's titanium white just over here, and I have cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow deep, yellow ochre, a little bit of cadmium red light, and then I have orange. This is cadmium orange, and this is just orange I had from one of the old paints that wasn't good quality, but I put two together just to see how much more brighter and how much saturated this one, and it has so much oil just leaking into the on the palette. And then I have alizarin crimson, terra rosa, transparent oxide red, so it's kind of a very intense synthetic brown, but I used it for my kind of schematic drawing. And then I have let me show further, viridian and ultramarine blue. So I'll try to show my palette better when I paint, just so you could see which colors I'm mixing. So I used this color, like very thin mixture, for my underpainting. So I'm going to have two tangerines, and there is another one, and cup in the middle. So I'll start from blocking in the main colors that I see, and I will be bringing palette back and forth. So first things first, I'm going to do my tangerine. So I'm using bristle brush to start from. So my very intense orange color, so I'm adding actually a little bit of this brown in it, and it will be in the shadow, but I'm doing this squinting. First tangerine, and then second tangerine. So I'm putting the base color. I'm definitely going to put shadows and lights later, but I just want to see first this color. And actually my one of the tangerines at the back has more yellow, so I'm putting cadmium yellow dip in it as well. Just dipping my brush in that and mixing it a little bit in orange. Definitely more yellow than orange. And then it's more orange on here. So this is my base color. I'm going to do shadows as well. So now I'm going to mix some green for the leaves. And this is viridian. Mixing it with some brown because it's not pure color. Again, mixing the mid-tone, even though it's quite dark at the background. I'm adding tiny bit of blue to it. Just want to see what my mid-tone is going to look like. The good thing that green and orange go well really nicely. So if you add orange to green, it will be nice warm. If you add a little bit of blue, it's going to be nice dark color for the leaves. And just doing some leaves at the back as well. And now I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to do a little try experiment with gray color. So I'm using a little bit of brown and a little bit of blue, and then I'm going to use some white. So this is kind of gray tone. You can see it's a warm gray tone. So the more white I add and the more blue, it gets more cooler, and the more brown I add, it gets a little warmer. So I want to match the color of my cup, and because I have a consistent cool light from the window, I think I'm going to use this kind of color with a little bit warm white. Plus I have a light from the window. So this is a base color for my cup. When I see it's a little bit dark, I'm adding a tiny bit of white. And I know that inside it's much lighter, so I'm adding more white. And again, this is because it's a bristle brush. I'm not really trying to do it to full extent, because I'm going to use my softer brush later to fix the drawing and do all the accents and other things that I need to do. So now I'm going to do a tabletop quickly while I'm here. So I'm using yellow, ochre and white, and I will be using a touch of blue as well because it's a cool light, so my tabletop will have variations of blue, white and yellow ochre in it. And I need to make sure I leave enough space for cast shadows. So I'm going to do a little mixture of brown and blue, so with more brown than blue, so that should do a job for my cast shadows. And of course I'm exaggerating a little bit, it's not as dark. I may, with softer brush, I may work on it more, but that's how it is right now. And there are some leaves there at the background. There is one on the cup. There is cast shadow from the cup, and there is a cast shadow from this tangerine at the background. So now I've done that, I can finish my tabletop using more white in here. Tabletop gets reflections from oranges and from the cup and from the material I'm using. So plus it has a cool light from the window, so it's a combination of all that kind of defines what colors I see there. And I can work on it later a little more. I can even do the edge of my tabletop that I have more space here, so that's the edge. Hopefully it's quite right. So, and then I'm going to use, in this color, I'm going to use a little bit of yellow ochre and viridian and white, because my maybe a little blue, because my background is olive color. So it is, will be a good, I have lots of orange on my brush. I squeezed it all out, but it doesn't matter because I can really paint around it. That's what I'm doing now. Paint around and then paint over it. As long as I don't make it too thick, I can always work on it later. So it's cooler, closer to the window, with more cooler light from the window, so I'm scrubbing it in. As you can see, trying to keep it thin because it will be easier to paint over it if I keep it very, very thin. So adding a little bit more liquid, a little bit more of green. It's very light. So in some areas it's lighter and seems to be cooler where more light from the window falls. So this is an area around cup. And again, try not to pay too much attention how I'm painting all the edges and everything else right now. The main thing is to just do my initial block in with base mid-tones, and then sometimes I do dark tones first, but this time I decided to just do mid-tones, and then I'm adding a little bit more brown to this mixture because it's a little bit more, and I think it's darker as well. Adding all three colors, brown, blue, and you can see this brown is so intense that I almost have to kill it with green. So it's kind of looks like it's a monochrome painting with lots of green and brown. So to find the relationship between those, that's what should make it different. So I have little darker colors here. Squeeze my brush. More dark here. Maybe I'll need more green soon. Okay, so I think I'm going to change the brush now. So I was using a brush that I was scrubbing in with, but now I'm going to use a softer brush and start working on my colors for Tangerines first, and then I will exercise more care when I paint them. So I'll start from shadows. So I'll do so I will use the same mixtures I had here, so but the only thing will be different is my brush is softer, maybe not as liquidy. So I'll try to see how I can work on the shadows for Tangerines. So I made this mixture of brown, green and orange. So I paint over it in the shade, and then there is some cast shadow from leaf here of the second Tangerine, so paint over second Tangerine as well, and then the same I do here on the Tangerine that further away. That's my shadows. So now I'm going to use a little bit of shadow here at the bottom. I'm trying to use soft touches. Mixing more orangey color for my first Tangerine. Try not to blend it too much into the shadow. At the same time not to lose shadow, so for that purpose squinting helps. And then it's kind of more flatter on top here. So using a little bit of green straight away for the leaf. while I'm there. And normally sharper edges set where there is a bigger contrast and where it's closer to us. So this green has a lot of coolness in it, especially where it turned to the window. So I'm trying to paint this on this leaf. The way it's turned. And going with tabletop a little bit around the tangerine as well itself, because the tabletop continues over there. So now I clean my brush very often, and I use the same kind of colors for cast shadow that I originally prepared. So this is the shape of this tangerine, close to the, not the shape, I mean the side of the tangerine that close to the light is brighter and more intense, but at the same time it's a cooler light. So first I do this little green leaf and then I'll do tangerine as well. So this green leaf is very intense and cool as well. So I'm mixing cadmium yellow light and still viridian. I don't see that leaf that well, I just can see it's somewhere in the background, but turned to the light more than the other leaves. There is kind of peekaboo here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to put highlight on it now. So I'm mixing cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow deep, sorry, and white a little more, just to see how that will look on this tangerine. I think I keep orange actually, because it is orange. I keep orange here and here, but we'll do it in the middle. So I'm going to kind of make it lighter and lighter, and eventually this light will fall on here. And again, the highlight on the tangerine is not very, and you know, I know I have window light here, but it's not, I'm trying to kind of smudge it a little, not very intense in terms of like brightness. So I'm trying to keep it close to the, realistically close to the, how it looks. And while I'm here, I'm doing also little light that falls on the stem. So now I think I'll do second tangerine, but I don't see it that much, because also there is a leaf falling. So it's still using the same orange or cad yellow dip, and then here it's also kind of in the dark more than the other one. The brightest spot on this particular tangerine is actually down here. And then it kind of disappears in the shadow, so I don't want to lose that shadow. And also I think I want to add more shadow to this tangerine, even though it's not very intense, but it's more to its natural kind of color. So that's my second tangerine. I think I will leave it because I have to put leaves around. So still using viridian as my base green, and I'm mixing either brown or yellow, or sometimes a little bit of even white to it. And again, I will be going back to leaves and to tangerines, maybe even. Depending on the depending how they will all look together. So for example, here I'm going to use background color first and then paint over it with the leaves, the same as here. I'll just use background color first a little bit, and then I paint over it the leaves that I see. For this purpose I need to put more color on my brush, so I'm using viridian and brown. I think I'm going to show it in a minute. Have to put some more viridian. So the leaves at the back behind tangerines have more warmth in them and more brown. And this branch is quite long and has this other leaf going there. So I'm going to change my, to add a little bit more viridian on my palette, and I'll show my colors in a minute where they stand. So this is my palette right now. So I'm working in greens and orange range right now. So the next step is doing a little bit more of green leaves. So mixing more viridian in my brown mixture. So this brush is soft, it's a rosemary brush, and it's quite good for using on leaves and other florals. So you can see I'm trying to add more paint, to lay more paint on this leaf. Sometimes adding white to viridian makes nice color, makes it quite cool. So this leaf here bends a little. I think I made it too cool, actually. When I look at it, I probably need to add a little bit green, more intense green. I should leave this tangerine a little bit in the light. So the leaf behind tangerine is going to be kind of darker as well, more brown even, because it has lots of, I even add some orange because I can see now that kind of gets this warmth from the orange in the back, and then there is another leaf over there, and there is another tangerine actually, my third tangerine, but you can hardly see it, so I will only do a little bit stem of it, and the leaf there, see that I see the background, that leaf is also very dark. So, and it's kind of pointing in the direction of the cup. But I see tiny highlight just under the leaf. Actually, the leaf goes a little bit darker or lower. Sorry, I used the wrong word. The leaf goes a little lower, and I think that's where my kind of issue with this leaf. Yeah, goes a little bit lower. There is tiny bit of light between these tangerines. Actually, it's tabletop. I think some of tabletop and some of background. The wrong color I used. Okay, so I'm just thinking this leaf falls more here. To tell the truth, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to focus on that one. I'm just going to paint tabletop here a little. They're not all at the same level. The cup is a little further. Again, there is a background here. So now I will do, because I'm working with this orange color, so I'll do my other tangerine that has more yellow in it. So this tangerine that has more yellow rather than orange in it. And again, I need to clean my brush when I cover around the tangerine with tabletop, or when I paint between the tangerine and the cup. And a little bit more yellow here. Now I'm going back to greens again to paint leaves. So this leaf comes in front, so it has more green in it, and even like a brighter green. So I'm adding the same, that yellow, cadmium yellow light in it. But the rest of the leaves, actually this is well packed with leaves. Tangerine has loads of leaves on it, and they all, I guess when they picked it and they brought to the shop, it was all these leaves. So I don't have space there, but I kind of indicating, so I'm using cadmium yellow light and viridian to just show that color, cadmium yellow light and viridian, just to paint some of these leaves because they look nice and they look light. So more light on this one, the same as this one. Still don't see that. I'll try, of course, to see if this leaf will change if I do this kind of. Maybe it will look better with this color rather than that cool color I put originally. Just add a tiny bit more white to it and see if it works better. See, because this leaf still bothers me a little. How it looks doesn't look right. So I keep keep coming back to it. So maybe I'll keep. Sometimes if something bothers you in the painting, you can leave it for a while and then come back to it later, or if it's still not right, you can always change it or move it away. There are lots of different options. So for now I think I'll keep this leaf as it is. But I don't want to overwork it. So, saying this, I keep working on it. Still feel like cool color was better. Still feels like cooler color added more character to it. Anyway, you can work with leaves, I guess, for a while, and when I have a smaller brush, then I will maybe do the ridge and add more white to it, but in the meantime I will just leave it as it is. So I'm trying to go back and see how my tangerines look. So I'm noticing on this tangerine I didn't finish quite that top part. So I need to put highlight here and the top of this tangerine. There's a tiny bit of cast shadow from the leaf on this tangerine. And just exactly where that cast shadow there is a highlight area. So I'm trying to put this highlight so it will not change my shape, so I have to kind of make this cast shadow a little smaller. Highlight here. I think tangerines look more or less acceptable, I would say. And here I would add more depth. By depth I mean more shadow. And now my favorite subject, cup. Actually, I'm being sarcastic because that's not my favorite subject, but I decided to add it to this particular setup, so I need to paint it. So probably have to make a new color, a little bit lighter. And maybe I will do a tiny bit of different blue color in here. It's and add tiny bit of orange to this. So that's another way to do a nice bright warm color for the light, for white if you want to do cup. So it looks like this. So I'm not going. This is orange, and the color that I use for the sky, it's called phthalo turquoise. So any nice bright blue probably will work. So because I put a very thick color on this cup, paint doesn't lay the way I want it, but we'll see. Really, I have to put a thick brown, sorry, thick lighter layer on it, on top of the darker one, so that normally, so now I need to work a little bit on the background here as well, and I can always bring back some of the colors. I'm squinting and see how much darker my background in relation to this cup and other objects. At the same time, I can see some reflection of orange even in that cup, so let me just try to make it a little darker than I made it originally, because there is a reflection at the bottom as well. So I'm using brown and blue that I used originally, but in a darker combination. This cup. And then I use a lighter color in front, where I can see that that's the lightest light on this cup. And then this dark shadow, because it bends a little. I'm just using a touch of blue in that white to make it a little bit cooler. Also make it a little bit cooler in the light and add more white. So I'm using again ultramarine blue for that coolness in the white. I'll do the same in the cup here, where I see the light falling on it. And the darkest part of cup on the opposite side to the light where it's closed. So I'm still using that warm gray color. Maybe even add a little bit more blue and a little bit more brown to make it a little darker, just to see if that shape holds better like it is. The way this cup made this, it has this little edge as well, so I have to keep that edge active, not to lose it, but to the truth, don't have to really worry about the perfection of this cup. So To cover around the cup, I use my background color as well. It helps to shape it, and of course I need to clean my brush more often, so I'll just keep working on this cup for a while until I reach the required shape, so just bear with me for a while. I don't think I'll be working on it too much. It also has a little kind of, what to say, pattern. This tiny bit of pattern, so I don't know if I'll paint it, but I'll see. It's very intense color I made here for that pattern. That's why I didn't want to spend too much time on the kind of painting. Just try to see how it works, because I think that blue pattern will create interesting. So it's darker at the back, so when painting patterns, of course, it's better to wait a little until the paint sets. But because I'm painting here in not real time, but in without waiting, I don't want to make video long. I'm just painting over it very carefully. Hopefully my paint won't create an issue on this one. So, and then I still want to add tiny bit of orange. That's where reflection is. So it's kind of just a little bit, just to see that tangerine is there. Yeah. So, and then I have a little edge of the cup that comes here. So of course you can play with cups and other objects like this for a long time, but for me in this video there's no point doing that. The main thing is just to watch the light and follow the pattern, how the light falls on the cup. I also have blue ridge, not sure if I will do it all the way. So that blue ridge of the cup. So the only thing I need to put for sure is a little highlight inside the cup where the lightest part comes. So once I do this little pattern that gets a little bit brighter here, so that's what I want to kind of emphasize. Again, I may do my background a little bit darker so the cup will pop up, because in comparison to this background my cup is much lighter, so I may play with it a little bit to see where and how much light it is. And this is not the best brush. I think I will do my other brush that's good for scrubbing in background, just to see how this green and white, and I have a little bit of gray left, so I'll do that. That gray is not good, it brought me dirt, so Yeah, that color might work. I just need to put leaves one more time again. And again I will use a little bit of more lighter color here. You can always manipulate your background as well in your favor. If you see something like is lost or something doesn't work. So I'm going to work around this cup again. So that's my lightest part on this side. And that's my lightest part on this side, with a little bit of pattern on it. Sometimes it's easier to put something under your arm like this and do a better job on. If you want to make shape perfect. So I'll try to put a very bright highlight here. It's where the cup hits, where the light hits the cup, and there are some. I'm not even sure if I should put this pattern at all or not, or should I keep it or not, because I feel like I may lose my cup shape. Plus it's much darker on this side. I'll try just a little more of this pattern. The darkest part of the cup I need to make a tiny bit darker. Hopefully that will work better on this cup, because I still want to keep that orangey kind of feel to it. So I'm adding a tiny bit of orange to the ultramarine, and I think that may actually work better because it creates that kind of warmth and at the same time it's dark. I'll try that with orange on this side as well. Yeah, sometimes you need to try. Work on one side and on the other side. So I think I forgot about my other objects, so I'll leave cup for now and have a look at it later. See if paint sets a little. When paint sets, it's easier to go back and do a little bit of tweaking. In the cup itself. I keep coming back to it though, because I see some little things on the pattern. Just one last stroke here. Yeah, so leaving cup and trying to work on my tabletop around it. So using that light color, painting over the darkest ones that I had. And I think now I see that some of the leaves need more green in them. So I'm using some green and orange in mixture, so I think this leaf falls here. Some leaves at the background, plus this little stem goes at the background. So the stem that I lost. So some of those stems have very distinct light on them, so just trying to see. This has some stems, and then this one has light. So I'm mixing green, a little bit of yellow and white to put light on the stems of the tangerine, but the one that at the background I'm not that much concerned because they're the background and I can hardly see them. So I think there is a tiny bit of leaf that I just noticed coming in the background of the tangerine in the light, and then this in the background as well. So I think this one is actually too high. But it goes this way. Yes. So I think I may leave it for the recording, but we'll have a look at it later, see if I need to fix anything, or do I leave it like this. I may put a little bit brighter, not really brighter, but a lighter tabletop color, just to re-emphasize it a little here. Yeah, so this is our tabletop, so when you put it closer to the tangerines, you see the difference, how they pop out. And here as well, where the cup is, it's a little bit further. And it doesn't have to be like perfect tabletop. Has variations of different colors in it. What I might do, actually, I may take a softer, nice soft brush, but big one, and then I will go through the background and even it out a little. But I think I will leave this painting for now, and I hope you learned something. I made it a little bit longer, but it's just more objects in it, and I will try to post, not to forget to post the actual photo of what I'm painting. Like I said before, I really like painting from life, and when you paint from life you learn so much more than you paint from anything else, like from photo. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again on my channel, I hope, in other videos as well. I'm really looking forward to all the flowers. I have already first flowers like crocuses in my garden, so I'm going to paint maybe some flowers, maybe even like in a week time or so, and record some flower videos. So I'm just trying to work my last things here. So I see how light is moving, and I'm moving the shadow of my cup as well because it keeps changing. Okay, so I'll see you next time on my channel, and I wish you happy painting. Thank you for watching. Bye.